You ever watch a circus roll into town and think, oh, I know exactly how this is going to go? That's pretty much what it felt like the morning two squad cars screeched onto Maple Ridge Circle, lights blazing as if someone had called in a hostage crisis. It was just after 8 sun already beating down, and there stood Officer Thompson, one hand hovering over his holster, the other barking something into his radio about possible entrapment address confirmed. His partner did that slow cop walk around my fence, peering in like he half expected to find a body. In reality, just a red-faced, shirtless 23-year-old named Dylan Brennan pounding the inside of my locked pool gate, clutching an energy drink like it was a life preserver and he was about to go down with the ship. I was just trying to cool off. This is false imprisonment. You can't just lock people in like animals, Dylan shrieked, voice cracking. All the while, I'm sitting on my back porch with a mug of coffee, just watching this mess unfold. Didn't even raise my voice at first. Dylan, buddy, you climbed over my fence again. The gate's locked because, well, it's my pool. You want me to explain how we ended up here? Let me back up a sec. Name's David Chen, and up until 6 months ago, I thought buying a house in Maple Ridge was the first smart thing I'd done in a decade. Freshly divorced, just wanted peace and a little patch of blue in my backyard. I'm a software engineer, so it's not like I needed much quiet weekends. The smell of a good steak on the grill, maybe some alone time with my thoughts. What I didn't bargain for was moving in next to Patricia Brennan, who, and I say this with respect, ran the HOA like a 4-star general on a power trip. Patricia sells essential oils out of her garage, the kind of woman who hands you pamphlets for lavender anxiety relief at the mailbox and expects you to join her Tuesday night healing circle. She's the self-appointed queen of Maple Ridge. Her son, Dylan, he's the loyal prince. Grown man, still lives in her basement, vapes on the front porch, treats every pool in the subdivision like it's a free amenity courtesy of his mom's HOA title. The first time I saw Dylan backstroking through my pool, I thought maybe there was some kind of weird neighborhood pool sharing arrangement no one told me about. "Hey, Mr. Chen," he called, barely looking up. "Mom said HOA pools are open to all residents. Hope you don't mind." He grinned, splashed water onto my pavers. You know what I mean? I tried to keep it neighborly. "Dylan, my pool isn't part of the HOA. It's on my lot behind my fence." Didn't faze him at all, he just kept swimming. When Patricia heard I'd asked him to leave, she gave me a lecture about community spirit and left a handwritten note reminding me that neighborhood harmony starts with sharing. The second time it was a full-blown pool party. I get home from work and there's Dylan with 2 buddies, unicorn float music, blaring empty beer cans lining the edge of my pool. Patio furniture, moved towels everywhere. That's when I installed a lock on the pool gate, just a basic latch. Sent Patricia a polite email, laid out the facts, tried to be the reasonable adult. Her reply, 4 pages of HOA violations restricting water access, unauthorized fixture, creating a safety hazard. Next morning, my phone is blowing up. Patricia's posted photos of my locked gate in the neighborhood Facebook group, all caps captions about children at risk and division in the community. The comments exploded, some folks on my side, others acting like I was the Grinch who stole summer. Patricia replied to every single comment, ramping up the drama, tossing out words like liability, hostility, and negligence. Meanwhile, Dylan seemed to think the lock was just an invitation to try harder. I caught him on camera climbing my fence at least 4 times once while eating a slice of pizza like it was a spectator sport. So picture this Thursday afternoon, hottest day of the year. I'm debugging code in my office when I hear that familiar scrape, someone scaling the fence. Peek out the window and there's Dylan swaggering into my backyard heading for the gate. He grabs the handle, expects it to open, but nope, it's locked. What does he do? Pulls out his phone and calls 911. I'm trapped. I'm being held against my will. I nearly spit my coffee all over my keyboard. He rattles the bars, paces around the pool like a caged tiger. Minutes later, Patricia comes sprinting from her house, floral caftan flying, clutching an essential oil diffuser like it's Excalibur. "Officers, thank goodness you're here," she wails. "That man has locked my son in. This is what I warned everyone about. My boy could have drowned." Officer Thompson tries to make sense of it all. "Ma'am, can you walk me through what happened?" Patricia's voice goes supersonic. "My son just wanted to cool off. He could have died in there. That's when I walk up, calm as can be, introduce myself. 'Gentleman, Dylan trespassed. He climbed my fence again. The gate locked, sure, but it opens from the inside. Watch." I pop it open with 2 fingers. Officer Thompson just stares at Dylan. "So let me get this straight. You climbed this man's fence, then called the police because you couldn't leave the yard." Dylan's face turns beet red. "I always use this pool." "It's not fair." The cop sighs, probably thinking about early retirement. "Son, this is private property. That's called trespassing." Patricia's not backing down. "The HOA rules," she begins, "but I'm ready. Actually, officer, I have security footage of Dylan entering my property at least half a dozen times without permission. I brought the USB drive." They watch Dylan's greatest hits, scaling the fence, swimming, hosting his friends, calling 911, all set to the soothing hum of my backyard cicadas. Finally, Officer Thompson says, "Ma'am, your son has been trespassing. Mr. Chin has the right to secure his pool." Patricia tries to invoke the HOA rules again, but the officer cuts her off. "The HOA doesn't override the law, and you just filed a false police report." Now this is where things take a turn. Patricia's face goes ghostly. Dylan's freed from the pool area, still yelling about his pool rights. Within the week, my lawyer, who also happens to be my racquetball partner and was absolutely loving this drama, sends Patricia and Dylan a cease and desist letter, firm but friendly, like a slap with a velvet glove. The next HOA meeting is standing room only. Patricia has clearly spent the weekend stirring the pot. Neighbors I've never even seen before are there, probably expecting fireworks. When the agenda hits new business, I ask to speak. Projector comes on and I show the whole room Dylan's highlight reel trespassing pool parties that 911 call, where he's trapped by a gate he could have opened at any time. Dead silence except for one guy in the back snickering. I just want to clarify. I say private property means private. You want to swim? There's a public pool down the road. When the vote comes to remove Patricia as HOA president, it's unanimous. Even Dylan, who showed up late eating a sandwich, doesn't bother to defend his mom. The new HOA board passes a rule: private pools are private, period, and trespassers face fines. Patricia's face is a portrait in red. She mutters something about betrayal and no appreciation for community, then storms out, caftan billowing, essential oil diffuser clutched tight. Dylan trailing after her, still working on a sandwich. After all that, I finally had peace. The new HOA president even installed motion-activated sprinklers at the community pool. My suggestion, by the way, to keep would-be after-hours swimmers at bay. Dylan heard he discovered the YMCA, where you don't have to climb a fence to get a swim. Patricia. Last I checked, she's running a blog about HOA tyranny, which gets about a dozen hits a month. Most of them probably bots. You know, sometimes the most satisfying outcome is just letting people deal with the fallout of their own choices. My gate stays locked. My pool stays mine. And Maple Ridge finally feels like home. But I'll say this: power in the wrong hands can make any paradise a little less perfect. Maybe you think I went too far. Maybe you think Patricia got what she deserved. Either way, I'd love to hear how you'd handle it. Drop a comment and let's settle this once and for all.